Hello, everyone. Marissa Indigo tuning in to say hello. I'm in the middle of a big storm here in Olympia, Washington, where I am currently stationed for my mission. We have a lot of wind and wild rain and just really feeling that storm element here, which is so perfect and synchronistic with the eclipse corridor that we are officially in. We have the eclipse in Taurus. This is a full moon partial eclipse coming up this Friday, the 19th. And if you're not feeling it yet, you will. Just wanted to offer blessings and support and fortitude. Part of my ancestry is French, so we say bon courage, which means, have heart, have courage in these times because they are wild and very adventuresome. And I like to talk about the storm element and just being in the center, being the eye of the storm. And the energetics are definitely present. I felt really called to talk about the importance at this point now as we are ending 2021, particularly for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, to really be conscientious of our nervous system, which is also our light body, and regulating ourselves, self-soothing, restoring ourselves. And I wanted to touch base with you all about the shifts and changes that are happening right now as we enter the eclipse corridor. Oh my goodness. Eclipse periods are bookends that happen twice a year and they impact the next 6 months to come. And this particular cycle is going to be very intense with the astrology and the different gateways that we have, as well as all of the various cosmic events, including the eclipse. So I have been guided to offer some support and just to kind of cover, why are we more vulnerable, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, to the darkness or to depression. So historically speaking, the holiday season in the Northern Hemisphere is a time where there is less light available to us. The sun's light is a lot weaker on our half of the planet. And this makes people extremely susceptible because there is an excess of yin energy. And an excess of yin energy traditionally in the different systems with Taoism, in traditional Chinese medicine, the time of more yin in the year is a time of a lot more water, a lot more emotion. And we see how so many people are susceptible to depression and anxiety, different forms of darkness where it just feels like it's too much. And this is what happens when we have a lot of yin in the atmosphere. So it's all about cultivating our light, cultivating our inner reserve, and all of this can be done through self-love and practices like self-care. So while the restorative yoga is yin in nature, what it's teaching us is how to balance ourselves and to build the strength from the inside out, to nourish ourselves and to sustain for the years to come, because the energy is going to continue to intensify as duality continues to polarize to support the awakening for everybody. The goal with such a practice and such a journey together is to be together in sacred community and to support one another through this intensive growth period, learning how to hold the higher frequency as we make room to build a larger light quotient within our bodies through deep relaxation, meditation, and regridding, and thus realigning with the divine mind as our GPS. So this whole practice is about strengthening our connection to soul and divine mind as GPS to navigate going forward as things continue to swirl and be stormy and unpredictable and wild, while we're the calm in the storm. It's really critical that we build our light mindfully and just really be conscientious of what we're putting our focus and our attention on, and really taking the time in sacred self-care to rebuild ourselves. And it is so important, like I said, in the Northern Hemisphere in particular, because this is when we have the least amount of light, if you will, as we get into the winter months. All of these different themes that occur when we have less light in the atmosphere. And this is part of that hibernation, that spiritual rebirth as we prepare in the winter season for the coming spring. The eclipse coming this Friday on the 19th is the lunar eclipse, which is all of the emotions. We'll be working with the subconscious emotions coming up. You may find yourself right now, even today, oh, it's easy to spin out, or you're just noticing like one little thing may set you over the edge and it just dredges up all of the different frustrations or fears or griefs that you've been working through now for some time. And it's a very powerful time. So I just invite you into stillness and into peace and into compassion for yourself and just honoring yourself. We also have Venus going into shadow. She's preparing to go retrograde for 4 months. That is a whole other incredibly massive cosmic event, because Venus is all about our value, our love, our money, all of these different aspects of ourselves. So we can see the parallels here between self-care and giving ourselves what it is that maybe we have never received before, and fulfilling different roles for ourselves. Some of you that have been with me in this journey on this channel for some time know that I have quite a varied background of professional expertise and study. Everything that I have studied, I've been guided to by my higher self and my angelic team. When I would put a question or a call out to the universe, I would be guided to different systems to study, to discover more knowledge and remember more of the gnosis from within, of many different lifetimes as a medicine person, which we all have had these incredible lifetimes, and the information is within the body. So when I talk about the body, connecting that with the divine and with spirit, of course, we're going to talk about yoga. So 13 years ago, I was certified to teach yoga, and I did a special deep dive with the practice of restorative yoga. And why this is such a critical practice is that we have to conscientiously unplug the nervous system and reboot it, because it can't do it on its own. And a lot of the times we are operating on old programs, old operating systems in our neurology. Maybe we're in the limbic brain and more of that fight or flight stress kind of response. And restorative yoga is so beneficial because it's giving us permission. We have to give ourselves permission, but this practice is further cementing that surrender, that stillness, that letting go through passive non-action, through surrender, through melting. And restorative yoga is a very yin, or calming and receptive kind of a practice. And I'm going to just insert some beautiful imagery here to kind of convey the energy of what this practice entails. And I was actually guided to offer a 6-week restorative yoga journey starting this Wednesday, the 17th, that will take us through this entire eclipse corridor and actually end on the winter solstice on December 22nd, to support the community as we go through this eclipse corridor, because we have the eclipse starting this Friday, and we also have a lot of ramping up of the energetics, the quickening, as many have called it. And so this is a 6-week journey that we'll be taking together to really work with the teachings of stillness and surrender, to come into a deep metamorphosis in this beautiful hibernation period that we have here in the Northern Hemisphere. So restorative yoga is a very passive, or a yin practice, where we are learning how to be still. It's helping to bring balance, because all of us have been programmed to be extremely active and extroverted, or that yang energy, which leads to burnout and a lot of other symptoms of stress, kind of wearing us down over time. And this practice is restorative yoga, meaning that it restores us. It elicits the relaxation response, or other phrases for this are rest and digest. And this is where our most potent physical healing can happen. Not only physical healing, but full spectrum light body healing. So as you can see here, the body is draped in a very delicious kind of melting over all of these different props. So when I say that the nervous system has to literally be unplugged and then replugged in, we have to actually program the reboot for our operating system, for our energy, ourselves. And this is where we come into higher levels of our mastery and our sovereignty by taking charge, because this is the physical avatar, the Merkaba, the extensions of the light body in the physical, and we are the consciousness wearing this amazing star suit. And it is up to us to facilitate its success and higher frequency energy being able to course through this incredible temple through our self-care, to build these energetic reserves from the inside out. So with restorative yoga, we're rebooting the nervous system. And this deep teaching of stillness and being passive is so profound. The profundity of such a practice is really beyond words. It's something that has to be experienced. You can kind of get a little bit of an idea from the images here and the different clips that I've got for you to see. But when the body is supported with the props, With restorative yoga, it's all about the props. So when the body is supported, so we're building the floor to reach our body, it facilitates a very deep opening, because all of a sudden we are still and we're draped over these different props in these positions for several minutes at a time. It could be anywhere from a few minutes up to 15 minutes per pose. And we're working with gravity. We're just breathing, we're witnessing what arises, and we're allowing the body to just melt and open into the props using the force of gravity. And so if you start to look at what's going on physically here with our physiology, we're starting to create these different chemical reactions in the body of bringing in serotonin and endorphins and more of those happy bliss hormones into the body to balance out any of the stresses, any of that overactivity or overstimulation. Even if we're pretty balanced in our lifestyle, the energetics right now are extremely intense. The light codes, everything is continuing to expedite. And what I just keep being shown over and over again and told over and over again is it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we have to cultivate our energy, our vital life force, and this will also sustain us into longevity going forward. In 2019, in response to my body's own physiological experiences and discomfort and pain and tension, feeling and seeing where there were issues literally locked and loaded into my tissues, into cellular memory, in my bones, in my DNA, I actually created a new hybrid system of yoga that I call Lightbody Prana Yoga. And this is a multidimensional practice which I created for my own need, which is using more passive yoga and stretching, opening the body through breath, and just really being more relaxed and more grounded and focused to receive the information that is being held in the body. So we're starting to listen to its signals. And this is a multidimensional practice because not only are we doing what I have learned in the traditional systems of yoga and the schools of yoga, but we're working with the light codes directly. We're working with our cellular memory and our psyche. And there are many different bodies that we have to work with. And one of them is the mental, one of them is the emotional, we've got the physical, and then we go on and on into the energetic and then into the bliss body. So restorative yoga is an incredible practice to start with the physical and to continue to gradually take ourselves into more of the ethereal through our pure presence. So in this 6-week program, we're going to be doing beautiful restorative yoga practices to help you feel relaxed, calm, centered, to really start to build your chi, your prana, your life force energy. We're going to be building. This is to support us in the ascension process with any of those physical upgrades, any of the more of the discomfort that we're experiencing, because we're not only experiencing these activations physically, we might have tension or pain, but also mentally and emotionally, spiritually, as we witness old programs arising, old emotions coming out, wounded child archetypes, all of these different forces. Each one of us is a storm of all of our experiences. And this is a beautiful way for us to retain the most benefit. So the goal of this practice together is to build and embody the newer, higher frequency templates that are available to us. And this is coming more into our divine DNA blueprint and activating more of those through creating space. So we're breathing space, we're working with gravity to let parts of our body, of the major joints like the shoulders and the hips, where a lot of information is stored, allowing these things to be breathed through and released and transformed. So we're working directly with our energy. This is a relaxing, peaceful, passive practice to reset the nervous system, to nourish the light body, increase our magnetics of being and our efficacy personally in our lives, professionally and personally, showing up. And there's no prior yoga experience necessary for this. We're going to be doing 6 weeks of self-care together in a beautiful, safe, supportive container facilitated by myself with the deepest love and reverence, and holding you all with Divine Mother's love and light. This is 6 weeks of self-care as energy continues to increase, the frequencies continue to increase, and we have these major astrological initiations through the end of 2021. So we're going to be ending the year with the tools for self-regulation of our energy levels, our mental state, and frequency of being. This is our higher self and our divine connection, paving the way for this lens to become the consistent life experience. This is a full energy practice of body, mind, soul regeneration systems with breath, circulating prana. We work with color. I'll be playing different sacred sound technologies for you. We'll be working with affirmations. We'll be witnessing together what is arising. So it's a very deep and beautiful practice that I'm so excited to share. I'm partnering with New Earth One, which is a wonderful platform that I'm so grateful to be working with Loren Gailey, in order to share this incredible information at this time. And all of the programs and different mastery empowerment courses and series that I do with this platform are to support humanity at a much more economical price point. So essentially, this 6-week journey is less than the cost of one private one-on-one session, because I want to make it accessible to as many people as possible while still being able to support my family. So if you're interested, the details will be below here. And I'm going to include the free course by the lady that I worked with to learn restorative yoga, who's just an incredible woman, incredible mother and goddess. Her name is Jillian Pransky, and she actually just did a free Shavasana fall reset program on her app. So I'm going to link that down below if you'd like to sign up and see what this is all about, and maybe try something for free, dip your toe into the yoga world. So just wishing you so much love, blessings, stability, groundedness, centeredness, peace, cultivating yourself as the pillar of peace in your community. And I'll see you in a few days for the next video. Sending you lots of love, and thank you so much for tuning in.